The Civil War begins with a conflict that exists between the King Charles I and the British Parliament. The King Charles I was not the only England king, he was the Scotland and Ireland too. One of his objectives was to bring the religious uniformity of his three kingdoms, but Scotland refused it because they didn't continue with this philosophy. One of the best conflicts was because the King Charles I believed in the divine rights of kings, so this led him to ignore the British Parliament and he increased the taxes without their permission. In 1640, the British Parliament refused to give him the money to finance the war because they had a great sympathy of Scotland. In 1648, Oliver Cromwell leads to the Parliament victory and the Charles I was executed of treason. So Oliver Cromwell was the Lord Protector of England. One important political philosophy were the Levelers. After England became one republic, the Levelers were a group of parliament who present a radical document about reforms with politics and religious topics. The most important ideology about them were the human rights. So they separate the government about three people: the executive, legislative, and judiciality.
It was after the Civil War, during the 17th century. Britain was a republic and was divided by two different policies. Ireland and Scotland support the monarchy because they thought that a king would bring balance to that country. People which supported monarchy were crushed by Oliver Cromwell, Lord Protector. He was a military dictator that got the power in England. He brought peace and progress to that country, but unstable politics. After Lord Protector's death, the successor was his son Richard, who didn't want to govern and was unable to maintain the republic. It brought a worse instability. So there was a political crisis. The parliament was convened by George Monk, and they decided to restore the monarchy. So in 1661, Charles II restored the Stuart dynasty, maintaining stability in Britain. In 1685, Charles died, and Jacob II, his brother, reached the throne, but he was unpopular for his Catholicism, and there was a law that said Catholics couldn't hold public offices. However, he governed, but nobody liked him. He made some mistakes that caused his stay at the power. Then, his son-in-law, William, was crowned as the king, asserting the Bill of Rights, which shaped the parliamentary monarchy.
The Industrial Revolution was a time in the 18th century when many important inventions were made. Many of these inventions made work easier and cheaper. As these inventions create new manufacturing and industry. Many people also move away from farms into cities. It was a time of very rapid change in the world. Well, in 1720, the steam engine is invented. Thomas Newcomen invents the first steam engine. It is not very successful yet, but the idea of using steam to make machines go will be important to industrial revolution. In 1764, the shipping jenny is invented. James Graves, a British carpenter, and Weber invent the stepping jenny. The machine spins more than one ball of yarn or thread at the time, making it easy and faster to make cut. In 1769, James Watt improves the steam engine. James Watt from Scotland designs a more efficient steam engine. One of the most important inventions of the Industrial Revolution, steam engines powered the first trains, steamboats, and factories. In 1794, Eli Whitney patents the cotton gin. Eli Whitney creates a machine that makes it much easier to separate cotton seeds from cotton fiber and greatly reduce the time it takes to clean cotton and helps the southern states make more money for cotton crops. In January 1855, the Bessemer method for processing steel is invented. Henry Bessemer invents a process for making steel out of iron, having a way to make steel more quickly and more sharper, halves the production of building and less to the ground for cities. In October 1879, Thomas Edison used a light bulb to light a lamp. Not the first man to create a light bulb, Thomas Edison created a light bulb that lasted longer than other designs and showed it off by highlighting a lamp. Edison's light bulbs allow people to do many things at night, such as work that used to only happen during the day. And finally, in December 1903, Orville Wright makes the first powered airplane flying. He using an engineer that they invent. Olive and Wilbur invent the first plane that is not powered by wind. Orville flies the plane for 20 seconds over